Arjun that constancy in the wisdom of the Spirit, insight into the end of the knowledge of truth, this is declared to me to be true wisdom, and all that is different from this is non-wisdom. So Shri Krishna says here that one should have the state where they constantly have the wisdom of the soul. This is the 19th out of the 20th qualities of Gnan, wisdom, that Shri Krishna is describing. Shri Krishna uses the phrase Adhyatma Gnan, which means wisdom of the soul, or wisdom of how to attain the soul. Atmadi Vishayam Gnanam Adhyatma Gnanam Tasmi Nitya Bhavaha Nityam Tvam. Shri Krishna says that one should constantly be in this state. What does wisdom of the soul get absorbed into? People have a very big misunderstanding that spiritual wisdom means having a long beard, walking around with prayer beads. This is not necessary. Spiritual wisdom is a very universal wisdom. It's a very big area. Spiritual wisdom is certainly wisdom of the soul, but when people say every third sentence that the soul does not do this and the soul does not do that, then this is not spiritual wisdom. It also touches life and takes one to the destination of success in life. This is spiritual wisdom. It has a very vast canvas. See how many different subjects come into spiritual wisdom. First of all, it's very natural that spiritual wisdom is the wisdom of the soul. One should first have this spiritual wisdom. Secondly, it is the wisdom of the powers of the intellect. This also comes into spiritual wisdom. One learns about how much power the intellect has, how the intellect can be used, and how the intellect can be used for the right path. One who has complete guidance of this has spiritual wisdom. The third is that one understands psychology and psychoanalysis. Just like one should have the wisdom of the powers of the intellect, one should have wisdom of the powers of the mind. And if one does this, then have spiritual wisdom. One who has strength of willpower, and not only that, but one who can create strength of willpower, has spiritual wisdom. Fifth, when one has wisdom of each and every sense, wisdom of the reason for each sense, wisdom of how to keep each sense pure, wisdom of how to keep the senses healthy, and wisdom of how to keep increasing the efficiency of each and every sense, such a person has spiritual wisdom. Each and every person knows how to use the senses, but we should not just use the senses, but also keep them clean and keep increasing their efficiency. Wisdom of this relationship is spiritual wisdom. Sixth, one should have the wisdom of the science of the body, and if they do so, then they have spiritual wisdom. One should know about diseases and how to prevent diseases, and one should have a study of how the powers of the body and the mind affect others. One should have wisdom of the capacity of the mind to impress upon others. One should know that if they do something, then it will have such an effect on the mind of the person in front of them. One should understand this and make positive use of this. Because it is a science, we have hypnotism today, but what is hypnotism? It's a method of affecting the mind of the person in front of you. There are people who make wrong use of this, and there are people who make positive use of this. And those who have reached the level of wisdom of spirituality will not need to read a book on hypnotism. They automatically have this impression of people. All of this comes under spiritual wisdom. The 20th quality of Gnan, wisdom, is insight into the end of the wisdom of truth. This is a vision of the meaning of spirituality. What is the meaning of scriptures, and what is spirituality therefore? It is for the attainment of the Supreme Soul. Therefore, in this state, one always has a vision of the Supreme Soul. This is a quality of a wise person. This is when a person knows about the meaning of spirituality, the characteristics of spirituality, and the means to spirituality. Satchidanand Ganpurna Parameshwar, the Supreme Soul who is existence, wisdom and bliss and complete. Constantly meditating on the experience and feeling of this everywhere is having an insight into the end of the wisdom of the truth. Shri Krishna says that this is declared to be true wisdom, and that all that is different from this is non-wisdom. Shri Krishna says that this is Gnan wisdom. Shri Krishna has called this Gnan wisdom, and has said that all that is contrary to this, and all that is different from this, is non-wisdom. God says that these 20 things are Gnan, wisdom. Everything that is different from this is non-wisdom. Therefore, from the list of these 20 things we have seen, each of their opposite things is non-wisdom, as I'll describe to you now. So we should draw a table. In the first column of the table, put number. Second column of the table, put wisdom. And third column of the table, put non-wisdom. So number, wisdom, non-wisdom. In the left-hand side column, number from 1 to 20. The rows should be from 1 to 20. For number 1, wisdom box, put humility, and in brackets, absence of pride, close brackets. Non-wisdom, the opposite, is the wish and hunger for respect. Number 2, wisdom is integrity, in brackets, absence of deceit. And the non-wisdom is the opposite, ostentation. Number 3, ahimsa, non-violence is wisdom, non-wisdom is violence. Number 4, wisdom is patience. Number 5, non-wisdom is anger. Number 5, wisdom is straightforwardness, non-wisdom is treachery and crookedness. Number 6, wisdom is service of the teacher. 6, non-wisdom is animosity towards the teacher. 7, wisdom is purity of, in brackets, of the body and mind, close brackets. Non-wisdom is impurity. 8, wisdom is steadfastness. Non-wisdom is unsteadiness. 9, wisdom is self-control. Non-wisdom is lack of self-control. 10, wisdom is indifference to the objects of sense. Non-wisdom is attraction to the objects of sense. 11, wisdom is self-effacement. Non-wisdom is egotism and mindness. 12, wisdom is a perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, sickness and pain. Non-wisdom is no perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, sickness and pain. 13, wisdom is non-attachment towards son, wife, home and the like. Non-wisdom is attachment towards son, wife, home and the like. 14, wisdom is absence of clinging to son, wife, home and the like. Non-wisdom is clinging to son, wife, home and the like. 15, wisdom is constant equal-mindedness to all desirable and undesirable happenings. Non-wisdom is wavering on the desirable and undesirable happenings. 16, wisdom is unswerving devotion to God with wholehearted discipline. Non-wisdom is lack of faith. 17, wisdom is resort to solitary places. Non-wisdom is a resort to crowded places. 18, wisdom is dislike for a crowd of people. Non-wisdom is like for a crowd of people. 19 is constancy in the wisdom of the soul. Non-wisdom is wavering away from the wisdom of the soul. 20 is insight into the end of wisdom of truth. And non-wisdom is thinking about objects. Everything in the middle, in the column above for wisdom is Gnan, wisdom, and everything in the last column above is non-wisdom. This is because everything in the last column above is the reason for which a person gets stuck into bondages to the material world. The material world arises because of these. This person remains stuck in the material world and he does not walk towards liberation. And that's what they call non-wisdom. Shankaracharya says, Gnanate anena atma iti gnanam atma gnana sadhanam iti arthaha. Wisdom is that from which you can recognize the soul, and that's it. Shri Krishna says that everything apart from this is non-wisdom. Therefore, Shri Krishna spoke about Gnan, wisdom, in the first 5 verses, from the 7th verse to the 11th verse of this chapter. Now, in the 6 verses that are going to come from the 12th verse to the 17th verse, the Lord will describe Gneha, that which is to be known. There's a trio of Gnata, meaning the knower, Gnan, meaning wisdom or knowledge, and Gneha, meaning that which is to be known. Gnata, the knower, Gnan, wisdom, and Gneha, that which is to be known. Shri Krishna spoke about Gnata, the knower, in the 2nd verse, when he said that Kshetragnam chapimam viddi, know me as the knower of the field in all fields. The word Gna was used in that verse, meaning Gnata, the knower. Shri Krishna said that I am the Gnata, the knower. Shri Krishna also described what Gnan, wisdom, is in the last 5 verses, including this verse. Now Shri Krishna will begin to describe what the 3rd corner in the triangle is, namely the Gneha, that which is to be known. That is a form of the Supreme Soul from the 12th verse, knowing which one attains the truth of eternal life. Yaj Gnatvam Amrutam Ashnute. Let's go into verse 12 now.